Hi, here's Shirley, and let's start our speech. Solitary confinement is so arguably America's most cruel punishment other than the death sentence. According to the Clinical Social Work Journal 2020, volume 48, it's estimated that the number of prisoners held in solitary confinement at any given moment ranges from 8,000 to 100,000. Such a large number is alarming enough for us to discuss this topic properly. In short, solitary confinement is so damaging to a person's both physical and mental health that it has the potential to cripple a person completely by blocking all communication and interaction with the outside. That it should be removed as a form of punishment within the American justice system. Today, I will share with you the problems, causes, and the solutions associated with not banning the solitary confinement as a punishment in prisons. First, let's talk about the problems. Basically, the problem with solitary confinement is that it exerts extreme damage to both inmates' physical and mental health, as well as poses as a threat to the entire justice system structurally. Let's dive in. In terms of damaging person's health, solitary confinement poses extreme threats to both inmates' mental and physical states. In particular, solitary confinement causes inmates to experience significant psychological symptoms, such as depression, social isolation, and in extreme cases, even a loss of identity. According to American Journal of Public Health 2020, volume 110, a clinical study between 2017 and 2018 observed that over 1,500% of prisons inmates who have subjected to solitary confinement experience at least one of the above psychological traumas. Comparing their results with the data released by the Washington State Department of Correction in 2017, inmates who were subject to solitary confinement observed a 1,900% chance of contracting serious mental illness, which is 100% higher than the general prison population, almost doubling the base statistic. In a different research published by BMJ Open 2021, volume 11, researchers observed that the influence of the current COVID pandemic further adds onto this problem by reducing the prisoners' opportunity to receive visitors, and the results on their psychological states turns out to be overwhelmingly negative. What's worse, psychological trauma is not the only health threat induced by the solitary confinement. Being put in the isolated unit is more likely to exacerbate the existing physical condition of inmates, such as skin irritation, weight fluctuations, as well as untreated and mistreated chronic conditions. According to PLOS1 2020, volume 15, the largest concern is the fact that inmates in solitary confinement cannot get prompt and efficient treatment by the prison's medical staff due to the nature of the punishment, which causes their existing physical conditions to worsen during confinement. Now, jumping out to a broader perspective, all the aforementioned threats on personal health posed by solitary confinement is also applied to different races disproportionately. Basically, the harm of solitary confinement distributes unevenly among different ethnic groups in prisons. According to the Clinical Social Work Journal 2020, volume 48, solitary confinement is tightly linked to the structural racism in the United States. Particularly, Black American male alone represented 4,500% of prisoners in solitary confinement, and only 600% of the U.S. population, while white American males comprised of only 3,100% of prisoners in solitary confinement, despite making up 6,200% of the U.S. populations. Now that I have talked about the problems, let's move to the causes. One major cause of the problems of solitary confinement is that that it's cost-effective in terms of dealing with unruly prisoners. Solitary confinement is, in a sense, very effective at what it aims to do: reduce violence among general prison population by singling out troublemakers. However, some previous attempts of removing the solitary confinement altogether failed, because there are no cheap alternatives within the current prison environment in America. According to the Health and Justice Journal, 2021, Volume 9, similar attempts at removing solitary confinement as a punishment have resulted in a series of problems, including risk management and the fact that the existing prison's culture is so used to its existence that both prisoners and the staff resist this change. Now that I have shared the causes, let's look at some solutions. With the aforementioned concern in mind, one way to reduce the impact of removing solitary confinement in the larger environment is to introduce a series of accompanying programs to provide alternatives for prisoners, as well as transforming the culture around a restrictive housing in general. One concrete way to this is through internal administrative reform. This includes changing the current prison system from isolating inmates who rehabilitating them. For instance, develop more transitional programs to help inmates to socialize more with the outside world. Researchers at the Health and Justice Journal, 2020, Volume 9, have already examined the viability of establishing step-down programs in Oregon that are preferred by inmates, which is the first step to remove solitary confinement altogether. Meanwhile, experimental reduction of solitary confinement also proves to be viable by more successful examples, such as North Dakota Health and Justice Journal 2021, Volume 9 reported an overall improvement of health and well-being of both prison inmates and the staffs after the reduction of solitary confinement as a part of the larger prisons reform from 2016 to 2020. Clearly, there are some viable solutions to solve this problem. Today, I have shared the problems, causes, and solutions associated with removing solitary confinement within American prisons with you. To judge a civilization instead of its highest achievement, we should look at its worst. In this case, how it treats its criminal instead of dealing them. I really wish to see the prison system be reformed into programs that help them get back into the society. And abolishing solitary confinement is the very first step. Thank you.